Okay, so this is the second time I'm doing this. I hope this is not super bad quality, because if it is, Jesus, this is not gonna be good. The job search has been really hard. I have been searching for 6 months, and from September to February, I've been searching, and it was hard. I just kind of wanted to put some positive energy out there, because when I was on TikTok doing my job search and when I was on YouTube doing my job search, all I just saw was doom and gloom, so much that it made me even more depressed than I already was. So that was fun. And I just kind of want to give people hope, and maybe also give you guys tips if you aren't doing what like I did. Maybe it'll help. Maybe if you're doing what I did, you'd be like, that was stupid, maybe I shouldn't do it. So starting with the programs or the sites that I use to send out my application. So I used LinkedIn, number one, of course. The next place I checked was Handshake. My school used Handshake. I used OTA, is OTTA. I use that. I would recommend it if you're looking for major US like cities and in the UK, because they did have a good amount of stuff in the UK. Also, if you're in tech. So I wouldn't recommend this for anyone outside of tech, or if you're like tech adjacent. And then the next three I used were Career Builder, Dice, and Indeed. I hate Career Builder and I hate Dice. I think those were two of the most annoying places. I was recommended them. I really don't like them. I think Career Builder and Dice are better if you're more well established. It was definitely not for entry level people. So again, I wouldn't recommend Career Builder and Dice if for entry level stuff. If you do want to try, again, I wouldn't completely rule it out, but I wouldn't put my time super into Career Builder and Dice as I would something like LinkedIn or OTA. So I did get help. I didn't get help in the way that you like, oh, she got a job from them, but no, I just got help in like tips and tricks. So my dad's brother, he is like a recruiter, so he kind of gave me some tips about like resumes and what programs and stuff I need to start learning. So for example, he told me jump heavy into Excel. I've never used Excel except to like import a data set into R. That was it. So he told me to do that, and I'm learning Excel, and it's been pretty fun, and I'm actually gonna be using it at one of my jobs. So again, that really helped to get that. Another person was my old friend from elementary school. Her mom was very helpful. I met with her probably about once a week, and then every other week she gave me some things to do. So I was in a contract position with her, and she was basically helping me boost up my skills. So I learned a lot more about SQL, and I learned a little bit more about Excel, but it was mainly SQL and Excel and Python. So those are some of the skills that I was able to enhance. Now into my job statistics. I think this is going to be really interesting. So from September to December 9th, I graduated in December 9th. I graduated late. From those time frames, I applied to over 100 jobs. So first, the job that I heard back from was IBM. It was a coding pre-screening basically, and I definitely failed that. I failed that so hard. First, because I procrastinated. Second, because I didn't know there was a practice test. And so the next interviews that I got, I did one company. I had a pre-question screening. So basically, you kind of do a video interview. I did it once for an internship, so I thought that was really interesting. I kind of don't like them, but at the same time I do. Like, it's like a love-hate relationship with them. I applied to be an associate analyst at the company, and I made it on to the second interview, which I'll talk about after the Wells Fargo interviews. Between those two times of me doing the pre-screening questions, and not pre-screening, but like the recorded interview questions, and the final interview for that one company, I heard back from Wells Fargo. It was another, like, I think financial analyst position. The person who was interviewing me, she was in the program, the graduate development program, and Wells Fargo that current year. And so she was graduating from that program. And so she was interviewing me to see if I would be a good fit in the program. And I think our conversation went really well. I really appreciated her. She answered a lot of my questions honestly, and it was really actually nice, I think, because it was actually someone who was in the program. So it wasn't like kind of like, it wasn't like standoffish, and she actually knew what she was talking about in regards to the program. And it was a rotational program, which I really, really wanted. I liked the idea of going to different departments and seeing what you like and seeing what you're better at. And then I had the second interview. That one, definitely more of a different vibe, because they were people who were like part of, like, they weren't entry level, they were kind of higher up in their career. And looking back, I tried to put it on a good face, but after I got off of the phone, I was like, I didn't get the job. I think it was just kind of the vibe that was coming from them. It just seems like they didn't kind of care or wasn't even listening. And also, I don't think they actually read my resume. My resume says that I graduate in December. And she was like, oh, like, if you want to learn Excel, you should take classes, which I told her I was teaching myself. But she was kind of like really hesitant towards me teaching myself for some reason. I don't know. And I don't know. I kind of figured I was going to get the job, and I didn't get the job. I did hear back from another Wells Fargo analyst position that was in San Francisco, and I had my heart set on the Bay Area because I wanted to go back, because that's where I was born and raised. I rejected it because they kind of told me a little bit too late, because their interviews were on the same day as the final interviews of my other Wells Fargo position. And that kind of pissed me off, because I'm like, what if you have someone interviewing like me for multiple positions? So I was trying to go back and forth whether I was going to take it or not. And I decided I couldn't because I had coursework. I was already trying to prep because I thought they would ask me Excel questions. So I was prepping Excel. They didn't. And then going back to the other company that I applied to, I had to do a 3-hour final interview with them. That interview kind of took me out. We had like a introduction, and then after the introduction, I was interviewed by the hiring manager and the 2 other people that would be working closely with me and on the same-ish department as me. The funny thing is, the hiring manager wasn't even there. Apparently he was busy. After that interview, that was about like 30 to 45 minutes, I think. And then after that interview, I would have a break, and then we would have to read a case study, and then we would have to present, like, kind of collaborate on the case study with the other interviewers. So we weren't the thing is, we were not pitted against each other. We all were there for different positions. So I liked that, because I thought, are we all here for the same position? No, they weren't pitting us against each other, which I was like, good, because I'm not gonna tussle. After the case study, we would have to present the case study together. The case study was a mess, but apparently it was just kind of a mess for our group for reasons. Again, I'm not going to go too deep into it, but it just kind of made me kind of like, I don't know if I want this job. Spoiler alert, I didn't get it. But the thing is, I did really like the company, and I did like the recruiter I worked with. He was super nice. I don't know. I did like the company, so I kept applying. I also still applied to Wells Fargo too. Now, from December 9th to mid-February of 2023, I applied for 100 plus jobs. So these jobs were a mixture. I applied to 96 corporate jobs, and then the other jobs that I applied for maybe 20 to 30 retail jobs. I had one pre-screening test. It was a proctor test in person. It was for the NSA. It was for the data scientist position. I decided not to do it for multiple reasons. And then I also had 2 interviews for pyramid schemes. After that, I did get an interview for a part-time job where I live. Yeah, so you know the nameless company that I said? They called me back. So he asked me if I was still interested in the role, especially because I was still applying to the company. And I was like, yeah, I'm still interested in the role. And I'm actually really glad that I decided to give the company another chance, because I know I said like, oh my gosh, like the case study was kind of like, but again, he assured me like that was not that common. Also, I really liked the two people who hired me, and so I scheduled like an interview again. So this will be my third interview. I scheduled an interview again, and this time I actually met the hiring manager, and I really liked the hiring manager. I do think I would work well with the hiring manager. I really like the company. At least starting off for a graduate, I think there probably isn't a better company for me. With all of the places that I went on, right? The career better, with all of the people that helped me, with all of the rejections that I got, with all of the interviews that I didn't take because I'm apparently super picky. Like again, I want to work at a good company. I just don't want to have the conscience of being employed by the NSA. I'm sorry. And like being perseverant, because like again, even I didn't even talk about the retail jobs, but even the retail jobs rejected me. Sam's Club, Target, Walmart. So I'm like, I was feeling dead hopeless. But again, I got a part-time job, and that would help me fund my move across country. And I got an apartment already, which the apartment deal that I got, I'm so happy. I'm really happy that I got this apartment. Like, it's such a good apartment. So everything is kind of just falling into place. Just keep going, keep doing it, keep hustling. Not too much, take breaks. I'm not one of those like rise and grind people, because sometimes you need a rest. I think I'm gonna end it here because I'm kind of just rambling at this point. But yeah, I hope this made you guys feel a little bit more happy. If you want to know more about my background, what I do, I think I put a little bit about like my major and stuff in my last video, so go check that out. It's about AI art and kind of like the nuances about AI art that sometimes people miss on both sides. Okay, I'm gonna go because I'm gonna keep rambling if I don't stop talking, which makes sense because it's